Good afternoon, everyone. Now calling to order the Thursday, May 25th, 2023 meeting of the Mashpee Sewer Commission. I'd like to ask everyone to rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. If we could please, as is our custom, observe a short moment of silence. Thank you. Is there anyone in the audience today who has business before this commission that is not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll roll into the minutes of, let's see, it would be May 11th. Aaron, myself, and Ms. Sprout were absent, so other parties who were present will entertain a motion.
I move we accept them as published.
I second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. All right. Probably should look at the agenda, not the minutes. That would help. Old business, item 1, review and update and vote on the website redesign.
Our last meeting, May 11th, we approved the first list of items to be assigned to the IT department to fix within the website. I had no idea what the turnaround time was, but it was 24 hours.
Wow.
Ray notified me, and I was like blown out of my seat. But anyway, so I was excited about that. And but it took me a few days to go through it and make sure and understand what they had done, and then start going through our notes from previous meetings to see what was the next step. So then I took that and started creating a new list. And that new list you have in your packet today. It's a 2-pager, looks like this. And we also decided at our most recent meeting last week that the funding section in the Mashpee Sewer Project overview that we had approved that day needed some tweaking. I mean, that's really it for the report, except that we would like to vote on these things. And I wasn't really sure we were going to be able to vote today, but it looks like we could possibly do that. So one of the things that I was prepared to do today was to pull up the website and go over some of these if people are interested, but it's going to take a few minutes.
I think it's worthwhile.
Okay. You want to explain what happened to the overview?
Yeah, we tried, one of the things that we're trying to do is to make sure that the information is short and succinct and to the point and understandable, because as you all know, is that when you look at the website, you can go all over the barn to try to find the information that you're looking for.
Take it to the
So we did put ourselves in the position of a Mashpee resident who'd be looking at this for the first time, not necessarily understanding where it is. But again, I've got to just give a huge, kudo to Catherine particularly, and to Phyllis as well, because of the ideas that just start flowing and trying to help us to pull it together. Because if you all remember, this left-sided blue line was 11 things, and not all of them were clear. But anyway, one of the things we wanted to make sure that we had in the sewer project information for Mashpee residents was an overview of what the project was all about. And that was the last thing that we were working on, so that is now shorter and succinct and to the point, that talks about what the problem is, what the proposed solution was, through the clean water plan or through the comprehensive water watershed nitrogen management plan, the funding that is available, but we didn't go into depth, but again, it's an overview. And then where the project is, and that's all that was in the overview. I kind of put myself in the position of, if I've got too many words to read, I'm not going to read it. Especially when the information can be so dense and so off the point. So that's what we're trying to do. Keep it to the point so that people can pull the information together. But again, the important thing is, now that we've made the changes to the website, we've got to get it populated and ready to go as soon as possible so that people who are looking at it now, the people who will be coming who are seasonal will be looking at it and looking for it. And I think it'll be important to have the information available.
So the funding section in the sewer project overview was what we revised. We wanted to make it clear to residents because Phyllis in particular had sensed some confusion among neighbors within the Phase 1 area, that they don't understand that it's a mandatory requirement to be connected to the sewer. So we wanted to get that in here. So we revised it and tried to clarify a few items. So we would like to get that approved today, if you're okay with it, Ray. We wanted to get that posted here, and it's the first item on this list. It's to just post this directly as a file here as Mashpee Sewer Project Overview. So that will be Mashpee Sewer Project Overview. It will be something people will be able to click on immediately, and it's like a little over a page long. So with that, then the next item that we have is on the Sewer Commission homepage. We have a number of items we want to address within this particular section, number 1. I don't know if you've had time to review this, but we want to get to the point where we want to move the frequently asked questions section right up here to the front and directly post it right underneath the Mashpee project overview. We do believe we want to make a couple of edits to those frequently asked questions, and we're going to try and work on that this next week. But we can move this now. The next item is treatment plant. We would like to name it what it actually is called, the Water Resource Recovery Facility, and put the WRRF in there as the acronym. So we can refer to it as that, and everybody gets used to it, because that's what it should be. That's the number 3rd change. Number 4th is we're suggesting that instead of month, we'd have to go underneath. Let's see, where is it? It's under treatment plant. Construction, monthly update reports, the next one I mentioned. Rename the monthly update report as the engineer's report. Okay? That's the first thing, because I'm not sure you're able to keep up with the monthly, number 1. And if you want to put it monthly, you can. We were going to suggest that the 3 most recent reports be posted with the date, and then as a new one is replaced, you just remove the old one. So the 3 most recent reports would be available to review. The next item we're suggesting is that under sewer project information,
The mouse doesn't work that good.
yeah, sewer service area. The sewer service area that we're dealing with right now is within the Phase 1 sewer service. So if you go back here to sewer service area, we want to actually call that Phase 1 sewer service area now. Since that's the one we're dealing with, we don't want people to be confused that we're dealing with the whole town of Mashpee. So we want to focus on that. The next item in the new subsection named sewer service area, we want to add something that's not here, and we would like to create, if it doesn't already exist, an actual written list of the streets that fall within Phase 1. And maybe in alphabetical order or some kind of order like that says north, south, so people can quickly recognize their street if it's in there or recognize that it's not in there, instead of going to the map and trying to discern. If not everybody's going to be a geographer around here, trying to discern if their property is located within the sewer service area. So we thought that would be helpful and easy to create. And it may not be ready yet, but we have it in mind and can be approved. Number 8, under sewer project information, directly post the link to the contractors list within the town, the contractor that the Board of Health maintains, but just make sure the list is here.
Yeah, and it's,
Yeah,
it's a couple items down. there.
yeah, but we want to actually call it what it is. And then 9, we want to add the link for the Cape Cod Aqua Fund right here,
What?
the Aqua Fund.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So those 2 links would be clear. Then number 10, we want, let's see, that's now, number 10 is under Sewer Commission reports. Policies.
Before you get off that area, I want to,
Oh, go back, oh, sure, open, what? Joe?
flip the next one up that you had up there, please.
Treatment, sewer service?
Well, a
General
couple of
information?
things. Sewer service area. Things will change.
Oh, yeah.
Today, we think we're gonna do this. Tomorrow, it's gonna be something different. So be careful how you phrase things in it. Proposed service area. Intended service area, not absolute service area. Because people will be calling up saying, why aren't you doing my street? Well,
Oh, within the list of streets you're referring
Yes.
to? Okay.
and that's why it may not be wise to put the whole list of streets in there,
Oh.
because then they're assuming that they're gonna get sewers.
Well, the one where they're working now, where construction is actually ongoing,
Understood.
would be what would put in there.
Yeah, we did consider also that some streets like Quiniquisette Avenue, it's in the sewer service area, but only half of it is there. So we would have to list that as a partial. And again, I'm very hesitant to be equivocal on this because, like I said, I've been going to the neighbors, and the question is, do I have to hook up? And like, the green stake is in their yard. Yes, you do. It is mandated. Whatever reasons, it's been interesting, but there's a critical time to act in certain decisions, and to be unclear that it's mandated isn't good for people.
Okay.
The second thing that I
Uh-huh.
had was, it is not a contractor's list, it's a homeowner's contract list.
You writing that down, Meredith? Mm-hmm. Can't remember everything.
That's how someone can identify with it. Oh, that's what I need to know.
Good point. No, that's great. Okay, moving quickly to, we just want to, you have policy number 1 and policy number 2 up there. We want to say policy number 1, betterment October 2022. We want number 2 to say pumps January 2023. We will also rename the nutrient management plan draft December 2021 as draft nutrient management plan December 2021. Just a simple fix. We would remove archive SOP 1 and 2, and what did we decide to do about this one? I think that stays, right? That stays.
Yes.
Yeah. Rename one, okay, now back to. Nothing changed with rules and regulations. Under watershed nitrogen management plan, we decided it would be smarter to change this 2017 to 2015, number one. The existing watershed nitrogen management plan will be dated as 1999. The draft preliminary facility will be named as Draft Preliminary Design of Mashpee Water Resources Recovery Facility, acronym December 2019. The next one will be updated, wait a minute. Town of Mashpee existing, this one will be archived. No, this one's dated.
Stays.
As June, as just, do I have that right?
No, it's September 2017.
September, okay. Where's the one that's being archived?
Next one.
The next one.
Oh, 15C, archive existing. Yes, this one's being archived. Because it doesn't take you anywhere.
Yeah.
And we're going to move the link currently posted under historical documents, Mashpee Clean Water Plan Supplements 2021. We want to move that back up here. We think that's the more appropriate place. And that's really it. We've got more work to do under agency contacts and historical documents, but that's how far we got. Yes, Phil.
I was thinking about something that Joe said about homeowners' contract lists. Ray, maybe you can come up with some sort of wording or an introduction to this whole business about contractors, because it's not just the licensed utility installers that can do some of this work or all of this work. And by putting that one list that has the very narrow list of names on it, it's kind of restrictive for people that can actually do the work, because I know plumbers can do part of the work and construction companies can do other things. Is there any way we can explain exactly the types of contractors that we're talking about?
How many words or less?
But you can see the problem, because, I run into people, they've got the plumbing license and they're all set, they don't need any help. Wonderful. I don't love to run into people like that. And others, they're just at the beginning point and they're going, where do I start? And what are my choices? And people don't understand the choices that they have. So maybe we could do something under this number 8 to kind of give an introduction to people as to what their choices are when it comes to this project. For 90% of us, this is brand new. We have no idea what we're doing.
Yes, if you could just shoot me just a couple bullet ideas and I'll write something up for you.
Okay.
All right, for approval?
Yeah,
Okay.
or we should wait on this one.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
That'll be really helpful, Ray, because it's also included in the frequently asked questions. It'll be good to get your read again on that, because we're not sure it's clear and straightened out.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes. So which one is that?
That's number 8.
The
Number 8.
contractor list?
Yeah.
We want to edit that.
Yeah.
Was there anything else?
No.
List of streets is still pending. I don't think we should vote on that.
And that'll change.
I want to see it. Should we wait on the list of streets?
I would.
We're basically talking about a template
Yeah.
that you add the streets to, and as they come on, then they come off, and, yeah.
Okay. And this would indicate which phase
So where the construction's actually happening.
Where it's actually happening. I think the point that Joe raised was really important, because we don't want to say, well, this is what's going to happen.
might
No,
change.
it's currently what is happening right now.
That's a great point.
And the maps that we have are really clear, and I think we'll be able to pull the names of the streets off the
Yeah,
maps.
it
and
is.
still
It's really
We
clear.
can still
Just
approve
need
it
to
now.
Find the time to do that. So we can have that ready next time. I don't think we should
No stress.
necessarily vote on it today.
It's okay.
But, well, we need
Got an
text
issue
from him.
related to that.
Ray, Joe had a question?
When you're done, I have a question I want to ask Ray.
Okay.
I don't have anything to add.
Thank you. You had a question for Ray?
Yeah, Ray, I'm not sure if you're familiar enough with the process in town here versus historic process. But we've got a house that's below street level, we're gonna have to put a pump in it, town's gonna put the pump in it, take care of it. The homeowner has to do two things. The homeowner has to get a contractor to connect himself to the street main, but he also has to have an electrical connection made for the pump.
Permit, yes,
So we do require a permit to be pulled.
yes.
And does the town have any list of approved electrical contractors? Is there such a thing?
Good question. I'm not sure that there's an approved list for the town. I can check on that, though.
Interesting.
Well, how did it work out in Falmouth when they had a house in a hole and it, you know, who pulled the permits and things like that?
Well, the permit there, it was required to be pulled by a plumber, and the process was very similar to what Mashpee has now for permitting on just about anything.
Okay.
It's a single permit
Yeah.
that you pull, and it gets sent to multiple agencies. So therefore, for this particular project, when they go to pull the permit to install the sanitary sewer lateral, the plumbing division
Yeah.
under the building department will get a copy of it and weigh in on it. Concom would get a copy, Board of Health. So that single permit goes through the multiple agencies that are necessary for it, and it puts them on notice for that. So
Is there any necessary agency in this town for electrical work, was my question.
I'll have to check on that. I'll let you know.
I don't believe there is, but that's just a hole in the wall.
Okay.
I also have a question for you, Mr. Jack. There, we had a visit at this meeting from the plumbing inspector, who had said that he's part-time. And when the town meeting came up, I didn't notice that there was anything in the budget to plan for increased work or increased workload, or the need for either his coming full-time or a new plumber or whatever. So do you have any insight on that?
I do recall his comments. I would say that the saving grace for that is that it wasn't just this past town meeting that would be necessary for that. Spring town meeting would accommodate it as well, because no actual connections would be allowed to occur before then. So if there were any additional funding necessities to increase the staffing level on that, in whatever form, whether it be for part-time inspections or whatever, the town would be able to manage it that way.
Great, thank you.
Other questions related to the update of the website? I think you guys did a wonderful job. I appreciate the summary very much, and I am happy to entertain a motion to pass the changes as presented.
Seconded.
All right, I'll make that a motion on my own, a second by Mr. Joe. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you very much, unanimous.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir,
may I just say something on that?
absolutely.
I think they did a wonderful job. I'm no website expert to begin with, okay? And so simpler is always better for me to begin with. And just on the left-hand side of that screen up there, there's only 6 categories that you can choose from. That makes it much better to navigate. I think before we had 11.
Yeah.
The titles were confusing. Once you even got into a particular menu item, the titles were once again confusing. So I've gone through this with the committee in detail, and how they picked up on everything and started to, archive some things, rename some things. I can tell you that in the end, this is going to be much easier for anybody to follow. No website's easy to follow, all right? But I think this is going to be as good as it gets. I really have to commend them for doing a tremendous job, really.
And also, we all of us on commissions and committees volunteer our time to come and be here and work with the community. And that those of you who went above and beyond to do this and spend their personal time getting this done for the town, it's very much appreciated.
And a shout out too to the IT department and the help that Terry Cook has also given
Yeah.
to move it through
Terry's
to
great.
IT. So it's been a team effort all the way through. Again, thank you, kudos to you, lady. Okay.
Moving on. Item number 2, review and progress of sewer construction project with Mr. Rajak. Take it away.
Let's try this one first. Okay, thank you. I am really pleased to be here today. I'm sorry I was wishy-washy on whether or not I would be able to, but I'm really pleased to be here today. I just felt that you had an absolute need to have this update today. So, I don't want to disappoint anybody. Nonetheless, keep in mind that this is the April report. It's always going to be the previous month, even though we're in the current month of May. Okay, so we'll start out with the financials. The original and adjusted contract values was 27 originally, 29,502 for the adjusted value. Completed as of, and this shouldn't say March, but they all say March, but completed as of now, meaning May, it's 10.8%. The amount expended is $3.1 million. There are 581 days remaining, so you can expect this is probably going to run close to its actual contract completion time. Startup will be sometime in advance of that, usually a period of 7 months. This is the cash flow chart for the treatment plant. The 3.18 that you see on the screen in the yellow line is the amount of money that's actually been expended. The red line is the adjusted budget. The blue line was the original budget, so the original budget is just a little bit below what the adjusted budget is due to including the tanks on the project. For the Collection System North, which is contract 2, the contract value was $5.024 million. The adjusted value is the same because we haven't had any change orders. And once again, this says March, but it should be May. 40% complete, and I'm going to mention something on the next slide that I show about that. We expended $2.029 million on it so far. Now, days remaining, and I'll be mentioning this along with the completion percentage on the next slide, is 470. Notice to proceed was October 3rd, so therefore, final completion date would normally be August 12th. The main completion, meaning main without services, would have been July 4th, and there are no change orders at this time. So on this graph, you can see that the 2.03, $2,030,000 that has been paid out so far, I had always said that these lines should try to stay relatively close. I did not anticipate this contract would be so far ahead of itself. So there's a lot of materials have to be acquired and stored and everything. The other lines, the red line and the blue line for the adjusted budget and original budget, were based over a 24-month contract period, a 2-year contract period. But here we are, we're into the 8th month of the contract, and these lines have diverged because they're so far ahead. The other thing too is this is the northern contract, but the Route 28 work was included under the northern contract. So that's why they're ahead of the schedule, so to speak, with regard to actual expenditures. And then the last thing I would say, to forget about the 2-year period on this, I expect this one to be done by the end of this year.
That 2 million represents 40% of the work done.
Yes.
Does that mean it's going to be 10 million altogether?
No, 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 no. It was, this year, that percentage was a percentage of value, not percentage of time. So if it was percentage of time, it would be, yeah. All right. But no, the values should stay within budget. But the big thing and the good news is that I do expect this contract to finish up probably around the end of the year. All right, which is saying a lot for the contractor. So then for the southern area, this is the larger of the two contracts, 9.8 million. There were no change orders, so that's the value. Once again, it is not March, but it is 13.4% done. These crews, this would have been further ahead, but these crews were pulled to go on 28. So for the month of April, virtually no work was getting done down south. It was a minimal amount of work. The effort was focused on Route 28. So we paid out 1.3 million on the contract, 581 days remaining. It's expected that the mains are going to be completed on this one, November of 2024. And this is just the cash flow. This is a little bit less because, like I said, Route 28, all the costs for Route 28 were included in Contract 1, not Contract, or Contract 2, not Contract 3. So this is the area up north. I did want to point out a couple things here. That the yellow represents the work that has been done. So here you have all these yellow mains have already been installed, including Butler up here. And this work was just recently completed on Drew. So now they'll be moving down here to High Sachem, all right, and doing these areas down here next. And Route 28 is yellow because that one's already done. This is the southern area. So the main was completed all the way up on Mashpee Neck Road. Simon's Narrows main was completed, but services have to be installed on both of these roads. So the services weren't done yet. It takes a separate service crew, and they'll bring them in later. Then here we have Shipwreck, which is complete. Ship's Anchor is pretty much complete. And then you have Porthole, which they'll be working on. And then the other 4 roads up here will be done in sequence right after that. So they're actually moving along pretty well. So time for some pictures. These are the I'm sorry.
While you had those streets up, I thought it'd be a good time for me to ask this question. We've run the main down the street of Simon's Narrow Road. Okay? Now that is projected on all of our other documents as being in Area 2A, which was going to be done in phase, quote-unquote, Phase 2. So I'd like to know how much is going to be done down Simon's Narrow way. What's the actual name of that street? Simon's
Narrows.
Narrows. Okay.
Yes.
Is that going to go all the way down to the end of Simon's Narrows? In other words, are we actually picking up half of 2A now?
No, where it shows, and I brought the map back up for you, but where this terminus is right here is probably 1,300 feet from Mashpee Neck Road, and that is the end.
Yeah.
Terminal manhole was installed right there. So for this project, that's as far as it goes.
About 15 houses down, that's it. Okay. So we have all the rest of 2A to pick up and Pickerel Cove
Yes,
to get that side done.
yes.
Thank you.
Did you actually mean Pickle Cove?
No,
We meant
Pirates
Pirates
Cove.
Pirates Cove, yeah.
Did I call it Pickles?
Yeah. Yeah. Pirates.
Pickerel Cove. Real
Okay.
place, by the way. You know that.
Okay, so here we go. So these are the equalization tanks, and on the left is showing you where we were at the last presentation period. the rebar was up and they were putting the forms on the exterior of the rebar. The photo on the right was taken this month, so the concrete has already been poured and that structure is complete as far as the concrete goes. Oops. This is the process building. This was as of the last update that you had. You can see that the floor slabs here had already been poured. Then you had the reinforcing concrete going up here, or rebars going up the side for the foundation walls, and the concrete forms were being put up over there. And this is where we are now. This right here is that floor area where that was already poured that you saw, and then along the back and along the side over here where you see the plastic, the sheathing that's draping the walls, those are the walls that were already poured, and then these are still the forms over here for walls that remained to be poured. And then over here, you're going to have the areas of the rest of the building, which includes the process tanks themselves.
Those are the basement walls for that building.
Yes, yes. So the first floor actually is going to be right up there. Once it's at ground level, all that's going to get filled in. So now these are the process tanks, or in Joe's vernacular, that would be the lines, if you will. This is a reverse image, so what you're seeing here, that structure right there are the equalization tanks. These over here are the walls that have already been poured on the process building. This is the process building floor. Normally, these pictures are taken from up on the hill here, so this is on the other side of the site, so that's why it looks a little bit different. But this is all the rebar and the forms that are going in on the process tankage right there. And the underground piping has already been installed. And the preliminary building is going to be another structure that is going to be built closer to the transfer station. So this would be to the west of the equalization tanks and the process building. But this is where the wastewater is going to enter the building. The degridders, solid separation units are going to be located within this structure here. So this is where this is the first place that wastewater is going to enter when it comes into the plant. So they're already working on that now. This is just to show you a couple of the methods that are used on site for pouring concrete. On the left-hand side here, you can see the yellow, that's a crane. And of course, you can't see the rest of the crane up there. But then this is a chain coming down, and it has concrete pouring bucket right here. And they were pouring it down this chute to put it into the walls. And this would have been, this pour here would have been for the equalization tanks. But concrete gets poured in here from a truck, and then this gets lifted and moved down to the construction area to put the concrete in. And then the second one, another method that they use out there, is the concrete boom. So you can't see the truck or anything, but this is the boom structure here that pumps the concrete up to wherever you're going to be pouring the concrete. So a lot of times this is what's done with the slabs. And in this case, I'm almost positive this was the slabs going in. So right down here is a tube that goes all the way down to the rebar. So there's two methods that they use on site in order to fill everything with concrete. For Route 28, or not Route 28, but north of Route 28, this was just, oh, I'm sorry, that one shouldn't even be there. That was 28. In the southern area, this is just showing you the milling operation in anticipation of putting the mains in. So the milling machine is actually behind this. There's a red truck here. That's the boom back there on the milling machine. but Robert Auer has their own machine, and the area that was actually milled is this area here, all the way down there. So they go down the street, and they usually make 2 passes in order for it to be wide enough to accommodate the shoring on the project, but they mill it, and then it's ready to start construction on the mains. So this was on ship's anchor. So where we are and where we're going, they're going to continue excavation for the preliminary building. So this is not the process building. This is the other one that looked like a bunch of sand heading up to the transfer station. Going to continue underground piping because for that building, as well as the mixed liquor suspended solids tanks, that's another fancy term for sludge tanks, that's going in now as well. And then they're going to be pouring foundations for the process building walls, the mixed liquor suspended solids tank, and I don't think during this period they're going to have that for the preliminary building, but we'll see. They're doing good out there. They're making good progress. Then on the north, Drew Lane is already done, and they're going to be working on High Sachem. In the southern area, Ship's Anchor Drive is already done, and they're going to be working on Porthole, and then the 4 other roads that are north of that. Oops. And that was it. Any questions? They're really doing well, both the plant contractor as well as the collection system contractors. I think they're really doing a very good job for the town. They're, in some areas, they're ahead of schedule. Other areas, they're on schedule, but there's no areas that I can see where they're behind schedule, and that's good. All right, because time is money when it comes to construction. So if they lose time, the money goes up.
Very good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Thank you.
Any questions, topics from our commissioners before we adjourn?
Nope, just want to say another shout out to Ray Jack for taking us for a field trip to the plant. And it was both you and the other engineer,
Yes.
Frank, were just fabulous in being able to explain a lot of the pictures that were there. And I have your helmet, by the way.
Thank you.
I do have one thing. Meredith, you mentioned that you had been working with Chris about some video presentation that would further explain the finances involved for the homeowners. Could you say something about that?
Oh, it really wasn't my show so much. It was Selectman Colombo that
Okay.
was primarily doing it. But it was Chris who had set the whole thing up. And so it was primarily to talk about, it was a presentation that Chris is in the process of editing that was talking about the financing through Aquafund that was available for the residents.
Okay, so we can look forward to seeing that on Mashpee TV or something, hopefully.
Yes, please.
Please.
I think it would be helpful to do something like that, or even something with Mashpee Enterprise about the frequently asked questions as well.
Joe, this is how you use a mic.
Turn it on.
So Meredith and Michaela came last week and gave a great presentation on how to fund yourself as a resident. That's being worked on right now, edited, putting links into it and such. It's part of an ongoing series that will not only involve the sewer commission, but will involve other things going on in town. Today, we did a segment on what you do when you get a yellow stick. Before we put those out, we'll ask Ray to look at it. In the case where Meredith and Michaela helped out, we'll have them look at it. And if you so want, you can put the link on your frequently asked questions and add it in if it works for you.
That's
But I'm hoping that maybe I can get the Board of Health to come in and say what you do with your tank when you're done with it, and anything we come up with. So,
Thank you, Chris.
Great service, Chris.
okay, so I hope that works.
Thank you, Chris.
Also, I'd like to thank, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe our resident Mashpee Enterprise reporter suggested this way back when. So, thank you. Questions from the audience? Commissioners? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make the motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.